introduce yourself, doctor.
Sir, I'm Dayananda Sagar. I come from Davangere district of Karnataka. I've done my MBBS and also I'm working now as assistant professor at a medical college in Shivamogga, sir.
Okay. Doctor, you taken Kannada as your literature.
Yes, sir.
Kannada.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you just give a brief account of Kannada literature's evolution?
Kannada is a Dravidian.
Various stages. They are classified into three majors.
Yes, sir. Kannada is a Dravidian language and is evolving with time. So it is classified into Halagannada, Nadugannada and Hosagannada. There are various classifications. Halagannada predominantly consists of literature that was there till 12th century. Nadugannada was between 12th to 18th century, and Hosagannada is after the 18th and 19th century. So that is the evolution of Kannada language. With the time, language also has its modification in its usage of words or phrases or even grammar as well.
What is the contribution of this Navya Sahitya writers?
So Navya Sahitya is a movement which made literature from an individualist perspective. The literature before that, which was predominantly in Navodaya, was more of collective consensus in approach, where it talked about, say, universal values, acceptance, and fighting in spite of the struggles. Navya focused on individual weaknesses, individual aspirations, and also sexuality was one of the themes of Navya literatures, and some touch of scientific knowledge, psychology were all the components of Navya literature.
What is D.V. Gundappa's work?
D.V. Gundappa has been is a renowned writer in Karnataka. He has contributed through various phases. The renowned one is his Mankuti Manakaggas. Apart from that, also his work as a critic. He's also compiled literary works of previous writers as well.
What about B.G.L. Swami? Have you read any of B.G.L. Swami's book?
B.G.L. Swami I have not read, sir. I've heard, but I have not read.
You have heard, no? He's
Yes,
D.V. Gundappa's son.
Yes, sir.
What about Purnachandra Tejasvi?
Purnachandra Tejasvi, I've read.
He has written.
Yeah, I've written most of his books, sir. I've read almost all of his books.
Post office?
Abachurana Post Office, so I have read.
Abachurana?
Yes, sir, I have read. And his Parisarada Kate, Jugari Cross, and then Chidambara Rasya.
Is he a rebel poet or he is a conformist?
I think he was well known for his subtle remarks on the various flaws of the societies. I think his works can be compared to what modern day stand-up comedians are doing. Okay. Taking a subtle jibe at the system with the tinge of humor. That is what I have loved about works of Purnachandra Tejasvi.
So what is this, by 1947 India will reach golden era.
2047.
Yes, 2047.
Yes, sir. So as iterated by Honorable Prime Minister, 2047 is deemed to be, India is going to achieve a Viksit Bharat status, where we are talking of a developed India, where we are expecting that per capita income of every individual is likely to cross $20,000, and where, of course, integrated with approaches like self-reliant India or Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we are self-reliant in approach, where we are economically solid, and where we are standing at a much better position in terms of world geopolitical status. That is what we are aiming for Viksit Bharat in 2047.
Will India become Vishwaguru by 2047? Do we have so much potentiality and capability?
Vishwaguru, I'm not very sure, sir, but Vishwabandhu we are going to become by 2047. There are
what is your vision of Vishwabandhu?
I mean, Vishwaguru, when we say Guru, we are seeing it as a hierarchical relationship between a Guru and a Shishya. And when I say Bandhu, we are seeing that we are a part of a circle where we are, we are having mutual interdependence amongst all the member nations, and India taking a role in making that mutual interdependence more cordial in nature.
What are your views on this election promises made by various political parties in the country? And there are a lot of pro as well as against views on that. And our Banerjee, the Nobel Prize
Yes.
winner economist, he says this kind of the social help to the poor people will help them to meet their day-to-day needs, and also make them to invest in some asset creation activities. He takes that stand.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
With respect to election promises, I just wanted to know whether it is in particular to freebies or it is in particular to all the promises that is made. If it is with respect to freebies, now recently what we are seeing is there is some trend in change in electoral promises that is being made. So I think we are moving towards competitive freebieism, because all the political parties are of the opinion of doing this. Of course, we have to differentiate freebie culture versus what the Constitution provides for Article 37, that is for a welfare state. Promises in terms of education, health, basic well-being, basic needs, that is what the government is supposed to provide. But measures where unwarranted, financial aid, purely financial aid, which is not accounted for, in the long run can harm the economy.
Have you read Keynes' economic theory?
No, sir, I'm not reading, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir.
What are your views on vaccines use, and there are a lot of controversy about whether we should continue to use vaccines or
No, sir. Well, actually, from the perspective of science, there's absolutely no controversy per se to use vaccines. What is the controversy is with respect to the kind of vaccine that we have to use, or ethical issues in distributing vaccines, or scientific issues in monitoring of the adverse effects of the vaccines. By and large, from the time of smallpox and chickenpox till now, vaccines have been scientifically proven to be efficacious, and because of vaccines, our health parameters have been doing great. And of course, that is what is the motto behind Mission Indradhanush or our eradication programs. In fact, India's vaccine diplomacy during times of COVID is actually very well known. And India being a pharma hub of the world, I think we should have a positive approach towards vaccination, sir.
what is India's space contribution to human development? Is it simply going to space and trying to experiment, or are we also getting benefit to the people?
India's approach to space, of course, we are definitely getting benefits, like from say mobile usage to our day-to-day routine, our internet access, or our information technology. All of it is
Weather monitoring.
weather monitoring. All of it is mediated
Forest survey.
through. Yeah, all of that is mediated through our space. In fact, be it the forest survey, be it environment, be it economy, be it agriculture, be it our modern science and technology, which is which is required for holistic development of any civilization. Our space research is a must, sir.
What is Chandrayaan 4 features?
Sir,
Chandrayaan 4.
Chandrayaan 4 features, we are trying to plan by 2040. By 2035, we want to have our own space station, and by 2040, we want to have first, Indian on the moon. So, for which now there are measures. Now, the recent launch of, say, NGLV, or the recent Space DX, that is the docking, mechanism, docking and de-docking mechanism that was recently successful. Both of which are very giant step in that regard. So I am very hopeful that India is likely to achieve it.
Prime Minister recently approved a project to launch a third station. Where it is? Third launching station.
Yes, sir. It is associated with Sriharikota, but I am not very. I don't know the exact.
Sriharikota.
Yeah, Sriharikota. Yes, sir.
Doctor, you are working as you're a psychiatrist also.
Yes, sir. I'm a psychiatrist.
Nowadays, recently in, especially almost you see news every day, suicide cases, especially among the middle age.
Yes, sir.
Reasons may be different. Sometimes the whole family is negative. Why? What do you think the reason? Is it different? Maybe economic reasons and social reasons. Why this is happening?
Okay, sir. To tell from a scientific approach or psychiatric approach?
Whatever approach you want.
No, sir. We want.
Psychiatric, you need individual cases will be.
No, sir. I'll try to tell.
Yeah.
What we follow is biopsychosocial model approach. One is biological vulnerability, family history of psychiatric illness or family history of psychiatric. Second one is psychological. Each individual is different. Their psychological competence in handling stressors or social. Now what we are seeing, recent trend is of course our biopsycho models are same, but social models are differing with respect to say recent changes in marriage, or what we are seeing is emptiness syndrome, or what we are seeing is in terms of financial losses. So the social vulnerabilities are of individual is increasing day by day, and that has led to more number of say prevalence of psychiatric illnesses. So that is one of the causes. What we say is in psychological autopsy we find that 70% of the cases in them suicides could have been prevented. Of course, in 30% of the individuals when the attempts are very impulsive or under intoxication, we may not be able to prevent. But right policy measures in terms of say telemanus initiative or budget plans or suicidal helplines or IEC activities to address these, or giving more importance to community mental health aspect will be a right step to do it, sir.
Two things. One is in an earlier lifestyle, earlier 20, 30 years back, the joint family concept was there.
Yes, sir.
And there was a provision for vent or provision for discussions. But now in the present scenario, there are technology. You can talk social media, telephone, telecommunication. So much availability is large.
Yes.
Why is it human is getting into centralized? He doesn't want to discuss. Is it an ego issue? What is the major?
First thing is, as I said, as you also mentioned rightly, there is change in social structure. What studies have found is anybody with strong family support, it acts as a protective factor for suicides. What we see in individual is adolescent, substance usage, or social isolation in terms of social media, where you feel that you have too many friends but you have none. So face-to-face human interaction is becoming more and more limited. So all these things lead to what we know as loneliness. So because of that, individuals tend to have over a period of time ideas of helplessness, hopelessness and worthlessness, which we call it as a deadly triad for any depressive illness. So these changes definitely have caused increase in suicides across all age groups.
Or else we are adopting the Western style. We are not ready to accept these type of things as a diseases.
On that, I would like to give a contrary opinion.
Yeah.
Because in Western, what we see is that there is something called a psychological mindedness, where they appreciate when they are lonely or where they appreciate their psychological weaknesses. In Indians, most commonly we tend to ignore our mental health, where we say that it is nothing, I'll be fine.
Deviation.
Yeah, some deviation or distraction, or maybe indulging in some substance usage. So yeah, so in fact, one thing that we can learn at psychology level is Western mindset of seeking help. But yeah, if you can permit, I can give 1 or 2 more minutes of answer. Yeah. India has been having a tradition of psychotherapy, which we in fact call it as Guru-Chela relationship. When a patient comes to, in Indian setup, they come to us and they ask, doctor, tell us what to do. That is what we have. In Western approach, what we call it as collaborative emphasis, where both of them sit together and come to a diagnosis. In India, what we are moving towards is, we are moving towards individual autonomy, but we are not able to imbibe the collective consensus that we had in the past. So we are in this transition zone. So that is why we are facing difficulties, what my personal opinion is.
It has reached even a younger generation.
Yeah.
That is quite a
Yeah, Gen
alarm.
Z generation will go through difficulty. I think by that next generation, probably in another 20 years, I think we would move towards people who are psychologically minded, who are seeking help. So with more modernization from across all generation, we are likely to see more stability is what I feel, sir. We are actually in a transition phase. That is why we are having more difficulty.
Also, most, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The religion also plays an important role. In church and all, we have this confession based, here we don't confess much.
Yes, sir.
That also plays a factor, I believe.
Any platform did not have to be okay. Religion, of course, is one of the protective factor when we speak of say psychological illness, or because religion gives them a platform to express their emotions or feelings.
No,
Of course.
saying, you go to the church to confess.
Yeah, I understood, sir. So when an individual expresses his opinion or expresses his agony, more than half of his agony vanishes away when he sees it from a third person point of view. It is same with respect to when we advise a patient to do journaling or to write a diary. When he thinks, we call it as something called as unreeling. Unreeling is there is a clump of woolen thread that is there. What you do is you hold a stick and you try to, unreel it and make it a very structured, a woolen ball. Similarly, in our mind also, our mind we are, we are having too many thoughts. We don't know which of it is leading to what. So that is what it helps in understanding our own self better.
In taxation, in the Indian economy, the wealth creation in the nation, we feel a lot of wealth is created, accumulated in a very minuscule of a population of India. Someone suggested, why can't you have an inheritance tax? What do you call it? What do you feel about it?
I mean, inheritance tax, yeah, as rightly pointed, India has inequality. Of course, our curve suggests that our 1% of population having a huge number of assets, but inheritance is not taxation is not the right move, because that can lead to various detrimental factors in terms of say wealth evasion or moving to abroad countries, and or redistribution is not the right phenomenon, because it can even lead to the top person who are holding the wealth or who are contributing in the economy through various enterprises may stop doing all those things. I think we should focus more on upliftment of the marginalized communities through education, nutrition and health, and aid them to come higher up in the hierarchy.
What is applied ethics? Any example of?
Applied ethics is a specialities where we apply ethical principles in various fields. Like for example, say environmental ethics, where we apply ethical principles in environment. Suppose when we have to displace a tribal community, or when we have to cut down a forest, we see of course economically, when we see the project may seem viable, but we need to look at it from an ethical point of view, whether it is right or wrong. That is what of course it can be applied to various facets also, in terms of health, in terms of scientific research. That is what is applied ethics.
Alright, Dr. Sagar,
Yes, sir.
as we move towards attention economy,
Can you repeat?
as we move towards attention economy,
Okay, sir.
people are earning money through attention.
Yes, sir.
Professionals are also moving towards
Yes.
doctors have left their jobs and they're making more money through YouTubes.
Yes, sir.
How has it impacted the society per se?
Okay, sir. From my perspective, I would like to think of attention economy in two ways. One thing is the social media with Insta reels that Insta reels that is being done to promote humor or anything. On the other hand, in terms of either doctors or professionals who are on media but giving educational content or content that are helpful for the individual. Now, point number one, it deals with entertainment per se. There we say that because of viewership they are generating their income. Now, with increased viewership they are generating more income. But the problem with this is, like for example, if you are saying Instagram, over glamorization of social media, where particular set of content derives more attention. Or with respect to teenagers being exposed to social media, and that can lead to instances of cyberbullying or abuse, emotional abuse or verbal abuse or hate content that is being received at either
Basically,
end.
what it has become more of a transactional relationship in society. So, as you earlier in this
Yes, sir.
discussion said, that people are getting more isolated.
Yes, sir.
So, attention span is getting reduced.
Yes, sir.
And the whole thing is becoming very superficial. Although
Yes.
you are saying it is giving knowledge,
Yeah.
it's a very superficial level, is it not?
When it comes to if you are telling in terms of say reel trend or Insta reel trend or any social media that where each content lasts for say less than 30 seconds or so, what you said is true. But what I was referring to when the other point was the usage of media for constructive purposes. Like for example, there is a meme that says if you don't understand any topic, just type the topic, an Indian YouTuber will appear from nowhere to explain you that topic. And of course, this is not the notion in India. This is notion across even European countries also. If they are not understanding any language, Python, Java or any script, they will type that. When it comes to this, from neurobiological perspective, what we see is short videos tend to release dopamine in the brain. That is what I have understood in neurobiology. That leads to happiness. Now, to watch a longer video, we need to have more attention. But to watch short one, attention required is less. And each time we skip or scroll a video, each time brain feels happy because of release of dopamine.
Because all the social media generators,
Yes, sir.
corporates, have utilized psychology, psychiatry,
Yes, sir.
and so on to get addictiveness.
Yeah, and that is what dopamine is implicated in neurobiology of addiction. That is why the short video platform is more addictive.
Okay. Now the thing is, as you earlier pointed out, there's a lot of depression, loneliness, and so on.
Yes.
How to improve wellness in the society?
Okay, sir.
We do have Ministry of Happiness, Happiness Index, Department of Ministry, and so on.
Speaking of increasing mental wellness amongst everybody, first thing is awareness. We do not have enough awareness about mental health illness or at least even basic symptoms of mental illness. Second thing is we need to stop labeling illnesses. Like for example, when somebody says I'm in depression, when they feel sad, they label it as an illness. We do not have understanding of difference between an illness and a normal physiological phenomenon. Third thing is integration of primary health care with respect to mental health. That is what is the component of say district mental health program. In fact, Karnataka also has Taluk mental health program. It is currently under a pilot project. Studies have found that when you integrate mental health with general health, that is when results are likely to have. What one Nimans cannot do, probably 10 primary health centers with well-trained medical officers can do. That is why, in fact, governments have made training of medical officers under psychiatry compulsory, where they identify the cases. At least they should be able to make a diagnosis. That is one. And of course, capacity building with respect to grassroots health workers also, ASHA workers, ANMs and healthcare workers. That is also a very
What
good step.
about traditional healers? In case of psychiatrists, you also have people who are classified as healers if they
Yes,
follow
sir.
certain tradition.
If it is with respect to faith healers, what we have is something called as Dawa Dua initiative, which is an initiative of the 1990s, which was very well accepted, where we integrate with the traditional healer. We tell you do your job. When you are not able to follow, when you are not able to treat the patient, you refer to us. Once the patient is treated, we will send the patient back to you. Psychiatry per se in India do not follow confrontational approach to faith healers. What we want is we want to collaborate with them. We see cases, we send it back to them.
What is the reason why faith healers could be successful?
Because in India, mass acceptance from the community.
Not in India generally, in Africa also
Yeah.
there are.
Yeah.
We are not talking about some exploitative, abusive. We are
Yes,
talking about
understood.
a faith healer who is concerned.
Understood. Point one is mass acceptance from the community. Two is integration with either religion or faith. Third thing is remedies or solutions that they discuss are available at a community level and are cost effective. These 4 reasons could be there why they are successful. They could be very successful.
Social cultural factor has a very important
Yes,
psychological.
sir.
It could be placebo, but it has a
Yeah, very strong.
This question I asked the earlier candidate also. This neuro rights. What is the importance of even United Nations has created a framework for neuro rights? Neuro rights.
I'm not aware, sorry.
That is your output from the brain you have to control. Now the multinational corporates, big corporates, particularly the Elon Musk and even Facebook, they have invested in taking the data from brains of people.
Yes, sir.
How important is to protect it?
But what they're doing is already they're doing it through algorithm studies.
So this is brain-computer interface straight away.
But I think from what I have read, it is at preliminary stage yet. The device that computes the brain signals.
But it has an implication we should be careful about.
Should be careful about. It points towards ethical concerns, breach of privacy, and then exploitation
Data
through
protection.
various
Your data protection.
data protection.
Now why are they having on this? What is the use?
It will extract everything.
It is again, through corporate culture, the exploitation of individuals becomes more and more easier.
That is true, but why the brain data is needed? What is the reason why there's a huge, the European Union also there's a huge brain initiative is happening?
I'm not very sure, sir. I'm not aware, sir. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
You can capture market.
That is what I said, that economy and market.
It has to be economy.
Yeah, Doctor, I have 2 very fundamental questions.
Yes, sir.
My first question is, relating to school children.
Yes, sir.
So when we were school going children, we never, used to have, counselors, psychiatrists, But nowadays, especially, in almost all the cities, school authorities are, consulting, hiring psychiatrists.
It is mandatory for them.
Right.
Yes.
So even a 4th standard student, parents said he went in depression, right? 4th standard students going in depression. So because you are a doctor and
Yes.
you have contributed a lot in through your articles,
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned in your profile. What might be the reason? Is it happening only in India or across the globe?
Okay, sir. Something that I want to point is with respect to India and abroad. It has already happened in abroad, probably at developed countries, of course, probably 2 decades ago, because of the demographic transition. With respect to India in particular, as I said, first point is demographic transition. Probably 50 years back, when the average total fertility rate was probably above 4, what was fought for was the basic needs. Now, when we think of health, what we think is, it is not absence of disease, it is complete, physical, mental and spiritual well-being of an individual. That is what is the WHO definition of health. Now, when basic needs are met, now the counselors that we are talking about is most commonly we see in urban or where they can afford. Of course, though there is a need at the rural level also. Now, there is also a change in, say, individualization at the society, where the parents are also very particular about with whom the child should mingle or with whom they should not mingle, or with what activities are permitted and what activities are not permitted. The social development of children, that what was there 20 years back, cannot be compared to what it is now, with more focus on individualism. This points towards specific areas of say individual phenomena like individual confidence, self-esteem, role forming, relationship forming. All these things the child needs an aid. The other phenomena was something like for example somebody having a dull normal intelligence where IQ levels are subnormal, or somebody having a specific learning disability. All of this was previously not considered as they were just shooed off. Many of these children were labeled dumb, or they are incapable, and they were shooed off from getting benefits or anything. Now there is a tendency to identify them. In fact, we see that there is more number of children are now recognized with specific learning disability. So for all these needs, psychological needs, counselors is very important. In fact, Government of Karnataka has has a pilot project where it says that there should be counselors in all of the degree colleges. But yeah, it is still in the process. I think in the due course they're likely to be established.
Okay, because Niman's Bangalore
Yes, sir.
also has separate, outpatients, department, where, children, especially school-going children are being, examined there, because, who are, especially this has happened, during the time of COVID and post-COVID, because all were, used to, attend online classes, and because of online classes, students, children get into this internet activity, and they were, very much, habitualized themselves with that particular, even if you don't have mom and dad with, that particular child, but it should have some kind of electronic gadget which it can use.
Yes, sir.
So that kind of, atmosphere, has developed. In continuation of this, I have,
Yes, sir.
as I said, I have only 2 questions. The second question is, Indian mythology, according to Indian mythology, doctors are treated as God, Vaidyo Narayano Hari.
Yes, sir.
But I beg to differ, because what I have seen, because one of my favorite area is health law also, because I have contributed not only to Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, but also your NMC.
Yes, sir.
That particular concept of Vaidyo Narayana Hari, in fact, lost its credibility during the time of COVID.
Yes,
This Damnesphere or some medicine, I'm not able to recollect the particular medicine which
Remdesivir.
Remdesivir,
Yeah, please.
sold in the black market. Beds were sold in the black market, and I am told somewhere in part of Rajasthan where even if he has some kind of minor issues of breathing, he was taken into the hospital, make him admit, and then later on they indulged in organ transplantation and other things. I don't know whether it is true or wrong, but there were several all these are hearsays. But there is somewhat kind of losing a credibility of Vaidyo Narayana Hari, right? So in this particular context, as an administrator, because as well as doctor, what would be your stand? What would be your steps so that you can bring back that particular Vaidyo Narayana Hari among the people?
Okay, sir. On the previous note, I would like to say human-to-human interaction with respect to the child is a social basic essence for 2 things. One thing is social development. Second thing is maintenance of mindfulness. Both is required. So in children, both needs are there when the needs are not fulfilled. Social media or virtual interaction platforms gives them a fake sense of say assimilation with the peers, but which vanishes in no time, leading to loneliness. When coming to this question of Vaidyo Narayana Hari, as a doctor myself, I've always been against this particular quote. I've always been against, because when you label somebody as a near to God, then you have to make sure that the patient is is irrespective of the outcome, irrespective of the severity.
Correct.
And in fact, this is one of the reason why there is increasing cases of assault on doctors, because the patient and the family believes that doctors can treat anything because they are equivalent to God. So that is why, in fact, I have been against this. Now, with respect to lack of trust, which is there, which is seen recently, yeah, it is true. And when it comes to COVID-19 and all the unethical practices that were there, many of it have been said to have evidence of being true with respect to be it Remdesivir.
Yeah, I have
or
some
other
videos,
things.
photographs
Yeah,
also.
yeah. But now I would like to differ in one aspect, is that whether we can attribute all of it to doctors is what my concern would be.
System.
Because many of these when it comes to pharmaceuticals, like for example, we have seen many deaths in Ballari or even in Kolkata also, where some pharmacological ingredient was not right and led to
Correct.
death. Now here, in this particular scenario, whether we can blame the doctor is what. When it comes to the remdesivir issue also, because WHO said that it is effective, but there was shortage, and then there was black market, and then there was high quoting of prices. A doctor would be probably ordering a drug and giving injection to the patient. But I would like to point to a darker side that I myself witnessed is with respect to ethics of doctors is when there was limited number of beds, and if I, of course I myself I experienced when there was one bed, if I have to save a 70-year-old patient or a 30-year-old patient, that was one of the ethical dilemmas that was there. Something that also needs to be understood is growing awareness with respect to legal implications, medical negligence, and because court has even fined up to 10 crores for medical negligence in some of the cases. As the administrator, what I would like to point out is I have to balance safety of doctors who are working, because otherwise what happens is what we are already seeing is there are doctors who are merit based in approach also are hesitating to take these emergency specialties because they are scared that they will be beaten some or the other day. I want to balance their safety and also public concern. One thing is with respect to ensuring the safety. Second approach would be to educate the patients regarding the laws available to address medical negligence. In fact, if the medical negligence is proven in the court of law, which has been done at various occasions, the financial compensation or the penalizing of the doctors is quite high. So that would be, I would like to manage it with bi-pronged approach, is what I feel, sir.
Because nowadays we have these corporate hospitals.
Yes, sir.
And doctors are being shared with shared the what you can say profit.
Yes, sir.
Which I should not use it.
Yes, sir.
But that is how the corporate hospitals
Yes,
use.
I totally agree, sir.
Right, but on the basis of percentage,
Yes,
right?
sir.
If you conduct a surgery, this much of percentage is going to be paid to the doctor. And doctor is in fact there is no any other option because he has also paid crores together for his
Yes, sir.
medical studies, and he in fact that's how you understand what I'm trying to.
Yes, sir. I understood, sir.
I'm not exaggerating,
No.
but
I
this is
understood.
the truth.
It is
This
true.
is
It
reality.
is true.
Doctor, you don't have to answer this.
No, sir. No, I will try to answer.
No, don't worry. This he also knows the answer.
So is it different from the field report?
I mean, with respect to this eco-sensitive zones, because there was less importance given to the local community, and the areas that was demarcated was high. That's why it was opposed.
What is the percentage of area which needs to be covered as eco-sensitive zones?
Can I take a guess, sir? 33%.
In Western Ghats, 66%.
66.
See, two areas, cultured, uncultured area.
Yes,
See, Kasturirangan gave more importance to the uncultured area, which was to be classified as cultured area. That means, the people would have lost their livelihoods.
yes, sir.
So that is one of the reasons. Please, sorry.
No, so that can you differentiate between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning? How are they related to each other? If you can just explain in the Venn
Artificial
diagram.
intelligence,
Machine learning,
Machine
and
learning.
deep learning. 3.
deep learning. Okay, sir. I'll just take 30 seconds. Artificial intelligence is the core, sir, actually. Artificial intelligence is the core, and then comes machine learning, and then comes deep learning.
Can you differentiate between them?
I mean, artificial intelligence is summation of all the processes. It is the final output of machine learning and deep learning.
So is it not a part of machine learning?
It is the deeper, it is the
Which is broader?
Suppose,
That is the question. Whether AI or machine learning?
sir, actually, machine learning is probably like knowledge and AI is like wisdom, which is sum total of machine learning is
To
artificial
draw a Venn
intelligence.
diagram, how do you fit all these 3?
Good question.
That is what, sir. Artificial learning intelligence in the middle, surrounded by. If it is pyramid, then I put
No,
artificial
the Venn diagram is
intelligence.
good.
Venn diagram.
Because you have to capture all the three.
It's okay.
Don't do it.
So last question. So what is this PM Gati Shakti scheme?
Sir, PM Gati Shakti is with respect to India's vision to reduce our transport cost from 15% to 8%, where we are having initiatives to make our be it development of dedicated freight corridors or east-west corridors, where we reduce the cost for travel, and also it can also be integrated with our multimodal transport approaches to ensure that efficient transportation is done.
Thank you.
Doctor, you are really good. Huh?